Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're digging into a really detailed guide. It focuses on what it calls the true psychology of, long-term relationships.
Yeah, and the core idea, this sort of internal architecture, is key. It's all about how self-value, setting boundaries, and providing deep support actually create these stable, really magnetic partnerships.
And the sources often frame this using the term alpha woman. We should probably address that right away.
Absolutely. It's critical because when the sources use alpha woman, they're not talking about like social dominance or being aggressive in the way we might usually think.
Okay.
Here, it's very specifically about internal strength. Think self-sufficiency, psychological resilience, just unshakable confidence deep down.
So we're moving past the superficial stuff, the usual dating tips.
Completely. This isn't about tricks or manipulation. The material really dives deep into the language, the psychological, social, communicative strategies that actually foster genuine, lasting loyalty.
Got it. So our mission today is really to distill these core psychological ideas. We want to look at what it takes to make that fundamental internal shift,
Right.
moving away from that, I guess, desperate energy of trying to catch someone
Yeah, that chasing feeling.
and shifting towards becoming this genuine magnet for high quality partners, people who naturally resonate with that inner strength you mentioned.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is the core argument here. The sources say the secret to real longevity in a relationship. It isn't your external look or transactional rules.
It's not about the outside stuff.
Not fundamentally. It's almost purely about your self-perception and the actual structure of the relationship you decide to build. Think about it. If you don't deeply respect your own time, your own space, your own energy, you're basically telling the world, hey, I'm interchangeable,
You're a fungible resource, as they put it.
Exactly. So the ultimate goal described here is building what they call a joint thriving empire of love.
Wow, okay, that immediately frames it differently, doesn't it?
Totally. It positions the relationship as a true partnership from the get-go, built on mutual growth, high standards, shared vision.
All right, let's dive into the first part then, this magnet of personality, establishing high value and boundaries.
Yeah, so attraction is where it starts, naturally. And the source material tackles what it calls a profound misconception in dating culture,
Which is?
that focusing entirely on the external, the body, the money, trying way too hard to seem cool.
Typical focus points.
Right. The sources argue that this really narrow focus, it might get you short-term attention, sure, but lasting connection, that's a different game.
So what are men looking for, according to these sources, if not just the external?
It's much deeper. They say men are ultimately seeking a unique positive energy, like an inner glow, is how they sometimes phrase it, and a genuinely safe but also exciting space within the relationship.
Safe and exciting, that combination seems important.
It is, because if a woman's happiness completely depends on him being there, on his validation, well, that space starts feeling really claustrophobic, unsafe even? Right, too much pressure.
Exactly. So the external shell, yeah, it attracts a glance. But the internal architecture, her mind, her passions, her non-negotiable standards, that's what truly captures genuine, lasting attention and commitment.
Okay, which brings us squarely to this core idea, the high value concept, or HVC.
Yes.
And the sources are really emphatic here. They say HVC is not about money or your bank account or designer labels. That's a huge reset for a lot of people, I think.
It is, and it's crucial. So if it's not material, what is HVC? Structurally, it's an internal state, purely internal.
Made up of?
Self-respect, first and foremost, unshakable confidence that comes from within. And then, most visibly, it manifests as clearly articulated personal boundaries.
Why are boundaries the main signal?
Well, the psychology is pretty straightforward. If you haven't truly decided that your time, your peace, your energy are invaluable resources, why on earth would anyone else treat them that way?
Makes sense. You set the standard. Exactly. HVC is the behavior that communicates your worth without you ever needing to explicitly say, hey, I'm valuable. Your actions speak for themselves.
The material gives a great example for this, a kind of litmus test.
Yeah.
The boundary test, or the late call scenario.
Ah, yes, the 10:30 p.m. call.
Right. He calls late, maybe after a tough day, just wants to talk. How does this test the boundary?
Well, that unexpected impulsive call tests your prioritization. What comes first? His immediate need or your established routine and need for rest?
And the low-value response, as they call it.
That response is driven by scarcity. Fear, really. Fear that if you don't pick up, if you don't cater to him right then and there, he might lose interest. So you sacrifice your rest, you get into a long conversation you weren't prepared for.
Even if you're exhausted.
Right. It's scarcity mentality in action. You're afraid of losing him, so you devalue your own needs.
Okay, contrast that with the HVC response.
Yeah.
It needs to be firm, the sources say, but not aggressive, not starting a fight.
Exactly. Decisive yet gentle. That's the alpha approach described here. First, you validate his desire for connection. You don't shut him down emotionally.
So something like, hey, it's really great to hear your voice.
Perfect. It's great to hear your voice, honey. Then immediately you gently uphold the boundary. But listen, I'm actually almost asleep already.
My phone goes into night mode at 10.
Because I really need my full rest to function. See, you're stating the need behind the boundary. It's not arbitrary.
And then you offer a concrete alternative.
Yes, proactively. Tell me all about it tomorrow after lunch, okay? I'll be looking forward to your call there.
Wow. That short exchange packs a lot in.
It really does. You've validated his need, which builds connection. But you've clearly prioritized your own physiological need for rest and your personal schedule.
And the signal that sends is?
That your time, your energy, your well-being are valuable resources. They aren't just available on demand. He needs to respect that and plan accordingly.
It's like you're teaching him the rules of engagement through action.
That's a great way to put it. The psychology relates to resource allocation and, again, scarcity, but this time healthy scarcity. By showing your rest matters more than his unexpected impulse, you teach him that accessing your attention requires planning and respect.
So you're reinforcing the behavior you want, like scheduled, intentional calls.
And gently discouraging the behavior you don't want, like last-minute demands on your energy when you're winding down. You're proactively setting the standard.
This idea of self-prioritization seems to flow right into the next concept, self-sufficiency energy. They position this as a major magnetic force.
It really is. Self-sufficiency in this context means your life is already full. It's exciting, it's meaningful, and it's structurally independent of whether a partner is present or not.
So connecting this to maybe like attachment theory.
Yeah.
The high-value partner is operating from a secure base.
Precisely. Their happiness is generated internally. It's not dependent on external validation from the partner.
The sources have this really vivid contrast scenario about what happens when he doesn't text for a few days.
Yeah, that one really highlights the difference. The so-called low-value woman, likely operating from an anxious or maybe avoidance style.
What happens to her?
Massive internal distress.
Right.
Anxiously checking her phone, checking his social media, maybe spinning stories in her head. Her whole world kind of stops. Her emotional state is completely hooked on his communication.
Okay, versus the high-value woman in the same situation.
She's likely busy. Genuinely busy. She's got her own projects, maybe a language class like the source mentions, friends she's engaged with. His silence is just a pause, a small, manageable pause in an already full, interesting life. It doesn't derail her entire day or week.
And the impact on him.
That's the profound insight. When a man sees that you don't need him for your happiness, that you're okay without constant contact, but you genuinely choose and value his company when you are together,
His presence becomes
a cherished gift, not an obligation he has to fulfill to keep you stable. That independent energy is incredibly fascinating. It makes him curious. He wonders what amazing things you're up to without him.
But this leads to that tricky idea, the secret of unavailability. People often misuse this one, right? Like playing games.
Oh, definitely. It's probably the most misinterpreted concept. People think it means ignoring texts for 3 days just to seem cool or aloof, manipulative games.
And the source material says that's not it.
Not at all. The guide is really careful here. It's not about manufactured mystery. It's about genuine priority management. Managing your attention, your energy. If you're always available, instantly dropping your own plans for his last-minute whim.
You're basically saying your own plans don't matter much.
Exactly. You systematically devalue your own time and commitments.
Let's give us another concrete example of effective unavailability.
Okay. The book suggests a scenario. He asks you out last minute, say for Wednesday night, but you already have something scheduled, something important to you, like that painting class example.
What's the alpha approach? Not just saying no, right?
Right. It's not passive-aggressive or cold. It's warmly assertive. You expressed genuine enthusiasm for seeing him, but you state the boundary clearly. Oh, I'd love to, but Wednesday's my painting class night, and I really can't skip it.
And then?
Then you immediately pivot to a proactive reschedule. but I'm definitely free Friday. Would that work? I'd be really excited to see you then.
Okay, I see. It communicates strength, your commitments matter. He has to integrate into your life, not expect you to constantly bend to his schedule.
Precisely. It creates a healthy sense of challenge. He gets to conquer a small part of your interesting world, fitting into your schedule, rather than just filling a void in your empty calendar. It shows you have a life you value.
And this commitment to your own priorities, it all comes together in how you handle conflict, like tardiness. Honesty without aggression seems to be the mantra.
It is. Let's look at that tardiness scenario. He's 20 minutes late. The typical victim reaction, as the source calls it.
Is probably emotional,
Yeah.
accusatory. You clearly don't value me. You don't respect my time.
Exactly. Generalizations, emotional pressure, it immediately puts him on the defensive. He feels attacked, not understood.
So the alpha woman's response,
Yeah.
it uses those I messages we hear about.
Yes. Focus on your feelings, triggered by the specific behavior, then immediately pivot to a collaborative solution. It sounds something like, hey, I'm really happy to see you now. Start positive.
Okay.
But honestly, I felt a bit uncomfortable and maybe a little disrespected waiting outside for 20 minutes. Punctuality is pretty important to me because, well, my time's valuable.
Stating the value again.
Right. Then the solution. Look, next time, if you're running late, could you just shoot me a quick text? Then I can just pop into the coffee shop or something. Agreed.
So it's not a fight. It's practical problem solving.
Exactly. The sources call it a roadmap for dignity. You give him a clear, actionable code of conduct. Most people, especially men, according to this source, respect clarity. You're signaling your dignity is non-negotiable, but you're offering a shared solution, not just dumping negative emotion.
You turn a potential blow-up into a simple logistical fix you tackle together. Teamwork.
That's the foundation of respect right there.
Okay, so once attraction is sparked and boundaries are respected, the focus shifts.
Yeah.
How do you ensure loyalty? Long-term commitment.
Right. The sources really challenge that old myth of the eternal hunter, the idea men always need novelty.
They argue that only happens
When they fail to find true depth, complexity, and reliable support within their current relationship. If the home base is lacking, then they might look elsewhere.
which leads to this idea of emotional uniqueness, making yourself irreplaceable.
Yeah, and the scope here is fascinatingly ambitious. The goal isn't just to be one thing to him, it's to become so deeply integrated into his life on multiple levels that the thought of replacing you is, well, unthinkable.
So you aim to be.
His invaluable partner in life goals, his best friend he can be silly with, his passionate lover, and his quiet haven. All at once.
That multifaceted connection is the key.
That's the argument. That complexity means he never feels like a crucial piece is missing, prompting him to look outside the relationship.
Let's make this concrete. How does this play out in tough times? Scenario 1. He's dealing with failure or major stress. Bad day at work, project bombed, he's down, and maybe irritable.
Okay, the common mistake.
Jumping in immediately, asking a million questions, offering advice he didn't ask for, complaining about your own day.
Exactly. Meeting his stress with more demands for emotional engagement or trying to fix it instantly. This usually just ramps up his tension.
So the alpha approach, according to the source.
It focuses first on regulating his nervous system. Physiology before psychology. This means providing silent, non-demanding comfort.
Like what?
A simple hug from behind while he's staring out the window, bringing him his favorite drink without asking. And crucially, giving him a predetermined window, say 10, 15 minutes of just quiet decompression time, no talking required.
Silence. Why is that so important?
Yeah. Neurologically, silent physical presence, non-demanding gestures, they signal safety. You're creating an emotional containment field, letting his system calm down without pressure.
And only after that initial calming period.
Only then do you offer choice, respecting where he's at, something like, honey, I see you're upset. I'm right here. Do you want to talk about it now, or would you maybe prefer to just hug for a bit and forget the world?
Giving him agency over his own process.
Exactly. While making it crystal clear he's unconditionally accepted, whatever state he's in, you become his safe harbor in the storm.
Okay, let's contrast that with scenario 2. Supporting his ambition.
Yeah.
He's nervous about a big presentation, feeling insecure.
Yeah, the common mistake here is often superficial reassurance. Oh, don't worry, you'll be great. Or worse, dismissal. Ugh, I don't understand all those charts anyway.
Totally unhelpful. Makes him feel alone with it.
Right. The alpha approach is about active, engaged involvement. Even if you don't get the technical details of his work.
You still show up.
You show up. You offer to sit with him. Look at his slides. Ask him to rehearse it for you. And importantly, you ask him some tough questions, acting as his first critical but supportive audience.
Why tough questions? Isn't that adding pressure?
No, because you're framing it as preparation. You're saying, let me help you anticipate what others might ask. It actually validates his competence by taking his work seriously while also helping him prepare for the real thing.
So you become his co-pilot, his sparring partner almost.
Exactly. Not just a cheerleader on the sidelines. This makes you irreplaceable in his emotional landscape related to his work and ambition. You're the one person who sees his vulnerability and helps him sharpen his sword.
But emotional support isn't the whole picture. The source talks about gratitude and respect as his internal engine.
Yeah, this taps into a core need, according to the material. Men need recognition for their efforts to feel valued and motivated within the partnership.
And it's not just about the big grand gesture.
Absolutely not. It's perhaps more about acknowledging the everyday efforts. Him fixing that leaky faucet finally. Him taking the initiative to make breakfast on a busy morning.
And the way you acknowledge it matters hugely. Taking it for granted, or worse, a backhanded comment like, well, it's about time you fix that faucet.
That's negative feedback. It devalues the action, maybe even discourages future effort. The alpha woman, instead, offers specific, sincere gratitude that links his action to her positive feeling.
So, for the faucet.
Maybe something like, wow, thank you so much for fixing that. Honestly, I feel so much more relaxed and protected knowing I can rely on you to handle those tricky house things.
And for the breakfast.
This breakfast is amazing. Thank you. You totally made my morning easier and just set me up for a wonderful day. See the difference. It's specific. It highlights his positive impact on you.
So the source suggests this acts like positive reinforcement, linking his helpful actions directly to his positive identity as a capable, needed partner.
Precisely. It fuels his ego in a healthy way. It strengthens his desire to be loyal because he feels competent, strong, needed like a hero in your story.
And this respect needs to hold steady even when he takes risks, like a big career change or a risky investment.
Especially then. That's often when he's most vulnerable. The common fear-based reaction is often criticism, doubt. Are you crazy? That's such a silly idea. What if we lose everything?
Understandable fears, maybe, but destructive to the partnership dynamic.
Very. The alpha woman, again, acts as a partner, not a judge or a critic. She shifts the energy from your risky idea to our shared strategy.
How does that sound in practice?
The sources suggest something like, okay, I hear you. I respect your ambition and your decision to explore this. I will always support you. Start with validation.
Then address the risk.
Collaboratively, let's sit down together and really map out the potential risks and opportunities. Let's look at this from all angles. I believe in your ability to weigh this carefully and make the right call.
So she's not giving blind agreement, but she's offering partnership in navigating the uncertainty.
Exactly. Unconditional belief in his potential and capability. Even if the venture itself is risky, she's his anchor, his strategic advisor, not his naysayer. That level of comprehensive acceptance and support, that's the heart of the loyalty code.
Okay, boundaries set, loyalty fostered through deep support. But how do you keep things from getting stale? The passion, the depth, avoiding that dreaded routine?
Right, this is section 3, the art of passion and depth. The sources argue the secret here is actually relentless personal growth. Keep evolving yourself.
You remain.
Yeah.
Interesting. Unpredictable.
Exactly. Like an intriguing book he wants to keep reading for his whole life because new chapters keep getting written.
And this requires conscious effort against monotony.
Absolutely. The relationship needs novelty, excitement, to keep those reward pathways in the brain firing. It starts with what the source calls spark and play, injecting lightness, spontaneity.
Because routine kills desire, psychologically speaking.
It really can. So how do you inject spontaneity? Take a totally mundane scenario, like cooking dinner.
Okay, chopping vegetables may be a bit tired.
Instead of just going through the motions, you suddenly break the script. Maybe you put on his favorite upbeat song and pull him into a goofy dance right there in the kitchen.
Or suggest eating on the floor, picnic style.
Yes. Disrupt the predictable rhythm. It's about finding moments to inject joy and the unexpected into the everyday grind.
And it's also about those small, continuous gestures that maintain the initial chemistry.
Definitely. Those conscious little things. touching his arm when he laughs, making deliberate eye contact across a crowded room, offering a really specific, intriguing compliment that's not just physical.
Okay.
Maybe, your intellect is seriously buzzing today. I feel like we won't even finish this topic because you keep sparking new ideas in my head. Something that shows you're engaged with his mind, his energy. These small acts keep the chemistry alive.
But maintaining depth also seems tied to this idea of inner freedom and having your own islands, your separate passions, goals, friends.
Yes, this is crucial.
But here's the friction point I see. If you're always prioritizing your island, your dance class, your book club, doesn't that risk creating distance? Maybe even resentment from him.
That's a really important question. The source material argues this separation is actually necessary preventative maintenance against relationship burnout and boredom.
How so?
If you completely dissolve your identity into the partnership, you lose yourself. You become emotionally depleted. You run out of new things to bring to the table. And frankly, you can become less interesting over time.
So nurturing your island is like filling your own cup.
Exactly. You're recharging your own energy, pursuing something that lights you up. That makes you a more vibrant person within the relationship when you reconnect.
Okay, but how do you communicate that prioritization without making him feel rejected or secondary?
The delivery is key. It's affirmation, then boundary, then reconnection. So if he wants to hang out, but it's your dance night, oh, I'd absolutely love to spend time with you. You know I always do. Start with the positive.
Validate the connection first.
Right. But tonight's my Latin dance lesson, and I made a commitment to myself in the class, so that's really important for me to keep. State the boundary clearly and link it to your values.
And the reconnection part.
Then you promise a better future connection. But listen, tomorrow night I'll be so energized from dancing, I promise you the most fun evening. We can suggest something specific.
Ah, so it makes you seem more desirable, more mysterious even. He has to win time with you amidst your interesting life.
That's the idea. It's a healthy challenge, not rejection. He gets to be part of your fascinating world, rather than you just being available to fill his time. It prevents that monotony, that feeling of having conquered everything.
Okay, so personal islands keep things fresh. What about intimate closeness? The source says it's more than just physical.
Much more. It's about emotional frankness, real vulnerability, the ability to be completely yourself without masks, and creating a space where he can do the same.
How does the alpha woman cultivate that kind of deep safety for vulnerability, especially if maybe he's not used to sharing?
The sources suggest leading by example. You go first. Share one of your own genuine vulnerabilities, not like trauma dumping, but a real fear, a dream you're hesitant about, something that carries a bit of emotional risk for you to reveal.
Show your own humanity first.
Right. Then, after you've opened that door, you can gently invite him in. Maybe ask something like, what's a dream you have that you've maybe never told anyone else? Or, is there a fear you carry deep down that you keep hidden?
And that deepens the emotional bond.
Which then makes the physical connection infinitely more powerful. It becomes a reflection of that profound emotional intimacy, not just a physical act. It's connection on all frequencies.
And finally, keeping passion alive requires initiative from her side too, right? Not just waiting for him.
Absolutely. The woman must also be a source of surprise, of novelty, of desire. It can't always be on him to initiate romance or intimacy.
So the sources encourage her to take the lead sometimes.
Yes, break the routine proactively. Little things, big things. Maybe leaving an unexpected, slightly naughty note in his briefcase. Sending a suggestive photo during his boring workday just to make him think of you.
Or bigger gestures.
Spontaneously booking a night away at a cool hotel. Announcing it like, guess what? I feel like we desperately need an escape from routine. Tomorrow night, pack an overnight bag. We're going somewhere special. Don't ask where.
That kind of boldness.
It shows she knows her own desires. She's confident in expressing them. And she's actively inviting him into her world of passion. The sources suggest men find that incredibly attractive and appreciate not having to carry the burden of initiative all the time.
Okay, so we've got attraction, loyalty, passion. But relationships aren't static. They need to grow. Section 4 talks about relationship growth and constructive conflict.
Yeah, this is crucial. The biggest mistake, the sources say, is thinking you reach some endpoint, some happily ever after, where you can just coast.
Relationships require continuous effort.
Continuous evolution. The ideal is two separate, vibrant worlds, you and him, that harmoniously complement each other, while both individuals continue to grow and develop.
Which loops back to that idea of individual growth being sexy.
Exactly. Your pursuit of new skills, new knowledge, new expertise, it's a constant source of attraction and interest. Take that example of learning web design, even if he couldn't care less about coding.
So she carves out time for her studies, respecting those boundaries we talked about.
But she doesn't keep her wins to herself. She shares her enthusiasm. Oh my gosh, I finally figured out that code. I built my first landing page today. It feels amazing.
And that achieves what?
Two things. One, she remains a dynamic, interesting person with new things to talk about, preventing conversational stagnation. Two, her energy, her drive, inspires him by example. It's generative. Her growth fuels the relationship's vitality.
And this connects to personal space being an investment, not a withdrawal.
Precisely. Needing time alone to read, paint, see friends, isn't a rejection of the relationship. It's an investment in its quality because she returns recharged, refreshed, with more to offer.
And again, communication is key. How she asks for that space.
Right. Honesty over excuses. Not, oh, I just don't feel well tonight, but a clear, direct statement of need. Honey, I really need about an hour of quiet time tonight just to recharge my batteries with my book. I promise. Afterwards, I'll be all yours and ready for whatever you plan.
It teaches respect for individual needs.
And fosters trust because he knows she'll come back refreshed and engaged, not depleted and resentful.
Okay, individual growth is vital, but what about growing together?
That's where shared horizons come in. The couple needs joint, tangible goals, long-term vision. Where are we going together in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years? It creates that powerful team spirit.
Like planning that dream trip we mentioned.
Exactly. Saving for it together. Dividing the planning tasks based on strengths. Maybe he's great at logistics and routes. She's amazing at finding unique local experiences and food spots. Or maybe it's a bigger project, like renovating the kitchen together. Or even starting a small online side hustle.
These joint projects build
Direction, common purpose. They reinforce the feeling that you're not just two individuals coexisting, but partners actively building something meaningful together.
And that team spirit becomes absolutely critical when facing setbacks, right? Like his startup failing.
Oh, absolutely. That's a major test. The destructive reaction is blame, criticism, the I told you so.
Why didn't you listen to me? Now look what happened.
Relationship poison. The alpha woman provides unconditional rear support, as the source puts it. The focus immediately shifts from whose fault to what's next for us.
So the response is more like,
Wow, this is a really tough blow. I know how much heart and soul you poured into this. Acknowledge the pain. But listen, this is not the end. You are incredibly talented. You're resilient. We will figure out the next step. We'll get through this together.
that unwavering support in failure.
It's like relationship superglue. It makes him feel fundamentally safe, knowing you're in his corner no matter what.
Okay, growth is great, support is great,
Right.
but conflict is inevitable. How do you handle disagreements constructively?
The golden rule, repeated throughout the source material. Attack the problem, not the person.
Let's use their example. He forgets an important event, an anniversary maybe?
The destructive path is generalizations, character attacks. You're always so irresponsible. You just don't care about me or my feelings.
Puts him right on the defensive, shuts down communication.
Totally. The constructive alpha woman approach uses that iMessage framework again to depersonalize it.
How does that sound?
Focus on your feeling linked to the specific action, then immediately propose a solution. When you missed the dinner last night, I felt really hurt and unimportant because those shared moments mean a lot to me. State the feeling and why.
And the solution part.
What can we do next time to make sure this doesn't happen? Maybe we could set up shared calendar reminders a week before and a day before. Would that help?
It shifts from accusation to collaboration. How can we prevent this problem?
Exactly. Men, according to this source, respond much better to problem solving than to emotional accusations. Let's take another one. Financial disagreement. He wants the new fancy gadget now, but you know the money needs to go towards the necessary roof repair.
Potential for a big fight there.
Huge. Instead of emotional arguments or demands, she proposes a constructive compromise. First, acknowledge his desire. I get it, that new gadget looks amazing, and I know you'd really enjoy it. Validate him. But remember, we both agreed the roof repair has to be the priority this month for the house. Refer back to a shared goal. How about this? Let's make sure the roof is handled now, and then let's actively budget for that gadget for next month. We'll make it a goal.
So it's not right now. Let's plan for it.
Right. It's about seeking mutual understanding, finding a compromise, and conquering the problem. Limited funds, competing priorities, together. The goal isn't for one person to win the argument. It's for the relationship to win by finding a solution that respects both needs and the shared reality.
This all leads logically into Section 5, which is about finding that dynamic balance: leadership, delegation, influence. Especially tricky today with evolving gender roles.
It really is, and the source material is quite nuanced here. It emphasizes that the alpha woman isn't about dominating or taking over everything. It's about wisdom, knowing when to lead, and crucially, when to consciously create space for the man to lead.
Why is allowing him to lead important, according to these principles?
There's an underlying psychological point. Men, the source argues, have an instinctive need to feel competent, capable, and valued for their contributions, particularly in areas traditionally seen as masculine roles, though that's evolving.
So if the woman constantly takes charge of everything,
If she micromanages everything, makes all the decisions, handles all the problems, his sense of masculine energy, his initiative, his feeling of being needed and capable can start to, well, atrophy. Her strength lies in strategically encouraging his initiative, not squashing it.
let's use that vacation planning example again. He comes up with an itinerary, and maybe it's not great, parts of it are impractical.
Okay, the low-value response is immediate criticism. That won't work. This part is dumb. Let me just handle it. Takes over completely.
Undermines his effort.
Totally. The alpha approach. First, acknowledge the effort. Validate his role as the initiator. Wow, thanks for putting this together. I can see you spent time thinking about the route. That's really interesting. Always. Then, gently guide his energy by framing suggestions around his perceived strengths. Okay, your logistics planning here is great. Maybe you could refine that part a bit more. Look into driving times. While you're doing that, I can research some amazing local restaurants and maybe some unique tours for these spots. You're always so good at the big picture logistics.
So she respects his initial lead, but subtly delegates tasks, leveraging both their strengths. It's power sharing, not a takeover.
Exactly. Strategic power sharing. It ensures the final plan is better, and he still feels valued for his contribution and leadership in his area.
This flows right into the art of delegation, giving him opportunities to solve problems.
Right. And framing it as trust and wisdom, not weakness or laziness on her part, especially for things like technical issues, maybe some financial planning aspects, or protective functions.
Let's use their car breakdown example. Instead of immediately taking charge, calling the mechanic, managing it all,
The alpha woman explicitly hands him the responsibility. And crucially, she expresses confidence while doing it.
how does that sound?
Not like a demand, but like reliance. Oh man, the car's making that noise again. Honey, I really need your help here. You understand this stuff so much better than I do. I totally trust you to figure this out. You're always my hero when it comes to fixing things.
Framing him as the protector, the problem solver.
Right. When she entrusts him with that responsibility and expresses faith in his ability, he feels the weight and importance of his role. It motivates him to step up and deliver.
This confidence seems linked to the power of influence. The source insists influence works best through admiration and encouragement, not demands or criticism.
Absolutely. Nagging or criticizing him to be more ambitious or get fitter usually backfires. Comparison is deadly too. Why can't you be successful like John?
So how do you influence positively? Say, encourage fitness.
You use admiration for qualities he already possesses or has shown before. You know, when you're really focused on your fitness, your energy is just incredible. You seem so sharp and honestly kind of unbeatable. I love seeing you thrive like that.
Connected to his power and well-being.
Exactly. Then maybe you back it up with supportive action, find an interesting article on a new workout, maybe gift him a session with a trainer if appropriate. You're showing belief in his potential and making the desired action feel like self-improvement that benefits him, and by extension you both, not just fulfilling her demand.
You model the positive outcome and validate his capacity for it.
Right, and this balance extends even to tricky areas like finances, especially if he's the primary earner.
How does she integrate her expertise without undermining his role?
First, acknowledge his contribution. I really appreciate how hard you work to provide for us. I know that's a big responsibility. Validate his role
Then a proposed collaboration.
as a strategic partner. To make sure we're both working towards our future goals effectively, How about we sit down together once a month, look at our budget, our savings, maybe investment opportunities. I can act as your sounding board, maybe your financial advisor in our little team here.
So his leadership role is respected.
But her expertise and perspective are fully integrated into the process. It becomes a joint strategy. She's sharing power intelligently, which ultimately strengthens his position and their shared financial foundation.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground. We're finally at section 6, the secret to long-term happiness. It's about joy and shared values.
Yes, and the core principle here is crucial. Relationships built on all these strong foundations should ultimately feel light, safe, and inspiring. If it feels like constant, draining, hard labor every single day,
Then something's wrong no matter how well you set boundaries or delegate.
exactly, all the strategy in the world won't save a relationship that fundamentally lacks joy.
So lightness and humor are presented as essential tools.
Like shock absorbers for the relationship. The alpha woman uses humor strategically, especially to diffuse minor tensions and maintain that feeling of being on the same team.
Give us that trivial conflict example. Coming home, maybe both are tired and irritable. Someone forgot the bread, there's a small mess. Potential for a stupid fight.
Right. Instead of launching into complaints, the alpha response might be to declare a minute of silliness.
A minute of silliness.
Yeah, like she suddenly changes into his huge old t-shirt, puts on some ridiculous music, and does a goofy dance. Or makes a funny face and declares all serious talk is banned for 60 seconds.
It breaks the pattern.
Instantly. Humor is incredibly potent. It transforms that mounting tension into a shared joke. It reminds both people, hey, we're partners facing this minor annoyance, not enemies facing each other.
Okay, likeness is key. But underpinning it all are values, the unshakable foundation.
Yes. More important than aligning on hobbies or personality quirks is fundamental alignment on core principles. Honesty, loyalty, family vision, how you treat people, etc.
And these need to be checked in on.
Regularly.
Yeah.
Implicitly and sometimes explicitly. And when a conflict arises that touches a core value, say, one partner hides significant expenses, violating the value of transparency.
How does the alpha woman handle that without it becoming a huge trust-destroying fight?
She focuses on the principle, not just the specific transgression, and avoids accusation. She stays calm, elevated. Okay, listen. For me, feeling secure and having complete trust is absolutely #1 in our partnership. That's foundational.
Define the value first.
Right. So when information about finances is hidden, even if the intention wasn't bad, it shakes that foundation of security for me. We need to be fully transparent with each other about money. This isn't about controlling you. It's about maintaining the strength and trust of us as a team.
It elevates the conversation. It's about protecting the relationship, not winning a point.
Exactly. It reassures him the confrontation is about preserving the yes, not just her being angry about the money itself.
And finally, to keep that connection strong day to day, the source talks about pleasant habits for connection.
Yes, these are like building immunity against routine. Specific, small, ideally daily, non-negotiable actions that deliberately nourish intimacy. Think of them as preventative maintenance.
The sources give 2 really good concrete examples.
The morning perk. Love this one. Just 10 minutes together over coffee before the day's chaos hits. Strict rule. No phones. Just connecting. Maybe sharing one positive intention for the day.
Simple but powerful. And the other one?
The evening dose of closeness. Just 5 minutes, right after getting home from work, before diving into chores, problems, or dinner logistics. Just a hug, sitting close together quietly, reconnecting physically and emotionally for a brief moment.
These habits prioritize the relationship itself over the endless to-do list of life.
That's the whole point. And if one partner gets distracted, say, he immediately crashes on the couch with his phone or game.
The alpha woman doesn't nag or get resentful.
No. She calmly, unemotionally reminds him of the agreement they both made. Hey, remember, we have our 5 minutes of evening dose of closeness now. Come here.
Like stating a fact, a pre-agreed rule.
Exactly. It treats the relationship commitment as a priority, a structure they built together for their own well-being. It's non-negotiable because they decided it was important.
Wow. Okay, so this deep dive really covered a whole philosophy, didn't it? From internal value and boundaries.
To creating that deep emotional uniqueness through support, driving growth both individually and together, finding that dynamic balance in leadership.
And finally anchoring it all in joy, shared values, and consistent connection habits. It's a comprehensive architecture for partnership.
It really is. And the core message, if you boil it all down, is that by adopting these principles, you shift from being a passive participant in your relationship fate.
to becoming the conscious architect of your happiness, as the Source puts it.
Exactly. And paradoxically, you achieve this not by focusing on him, but by focusing on becoming the most self-possessed, interesting, resilient, and joyful version of yourself. That powerful inner state is what naturally attracts and, more importantly, retains a high-quality partner who genuinely respects and cherishes that light.
So the final thought for you, the listener, building on all this. If true, lasting loyalty is built by making your relationship the place where your partner feels most seen, most valued, most safe, and consistently intrigued.
What is just one island of personal interest? Maybe a hobby you've neglected, a skill you want to learn, a personal goal you've put off that you can consciously decide to nurture this week. Just one small step to increase your own inner light, your own self-sufficiency, your own magnetic energy.
Because that internal shift, that commitment to your own vibrant self.
That's the real starting point for building your own thriving empire of love.
Thank you for joining us for the deep dive.